Since we're talking about the enemy, it's important for us to remember how he works, right? And the primary way that is gonna work on each of us is through temptation. That's his number one thing, right? He's gonna tempt us into sin of one type or another. So being able to recognize that that's his goal, right? He wants to induce us into sin. So how might he do that? Well, of just temptation itself, like if someone is tempted and has a weakness maybe of impurity, right? Then the enemy can accelerate that, and he can cause those temptations to happen more often. And that's where those inner lies can come in, right? Where, we know the truth. By God's grace, we can see the truth about our brother, our sister in Christ, even when they're struggling. Please God, let us see the truth about our brother and sister, and even about ourselves, that, like you said, the enemy tempts us because he knows, and by God's grace, we know too, that each person God calls, each human being that he blesses, which is, everybody he's made with a purpose, right? He knows that person can break through and make a huge difference and can damage the devil's territory forever, right? To bring more souls into God's kingdom. So for example, with impurity, if God's calling that man, that woman to be a husband, a wife, a father, a mother, God is got blessings, abundant blessings in store for that person, for their whole life. And it's through the gift of our sexuality, through marriage, and that God is going to call that person. So, where does the devil attack? He's going to attack that person with, impurity, thoughts of impurity. It's so God is there to help us. The enemy is trying to bring us away from God, bring us away and to induce us into sin, and to think of ourselves like, oh, I'm not worthy of those blessings, right? That too is connected, and to get us to believe a lie about ourselves, right? So that we might despair or just grow so discouraged. And that too is the enemy tempting us into sin, to tempt us to give up or to not pray or whatever it might be. So those would be some of my thoughts about that, about how the enemy tries to work those inner lies, and it's always connected to temptation. Since we're talking about the enemy, it's important for us to remember how he works, right? And the primary way that is gonna work on each of us is through temptation. That's his number one thing, right? He's gonna tempt us into sin of one type or another. So being able to